Before we continue on this video, I just want you all to remember one thing. Andrei Tarkovsky once said, cinema is an unlucky art form because it depends on money. And I want you all to ask yourself one question as well. Is cinema more of an art form or is it business? And can we juggle both of them when it comes to cinema? Yo, what's good you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I'm KV Productions. I talk mainly about the entertainment industry. Today I'm going to talk about a recent article that has come out recently. So it has been revealed that companies have been paying Rotten Tomatoes to give their films some good scores. One main example that was revealed was Ophelia, a 2018 film starring Rey Skywalker herself. So Vulture was the one that revealed this scheme. So a PR firm called Bunker 15 has been paying some low-level critics to give their film Ophelia some good scores. The initial reviews for this film was 46%, which means it's rotten. And then after they paid these critics and things like that, the film went to about 62%, which means it's fresh. And they paid each critic only $50. And of course, the PR firm Bunker 15 denied such allegations. As much as ordinary average moviegoers do not care about Rotten Tomatoes at all because they have been continuously proving that they are very unreliable with their scores. Let's look at maybe Super Mario Bros. Movie, or even Alita Battle Angel, or even Star Wars The Last Jedi, where the audience score and the critic score have been disagreeing with one another a lot recently. So you can see that, average moviegoers, they don't care about the Rotten Tomatoes anymore. It's been like that for years already. But however, there's a however to it, Hollywood film studios, especially those that distributes movies, really cares about this Rotten Tomatoes score. So it can be really influential in the entertainment industry, in Hollywood especially, because they really look out for these kind of things. Especially films like Ophelia, which came out in film festivals. Ophelia came out in Sundance Film Festival, and if the company Bunker 15 wants this film to be distributed by another company, then they need this film to be good to attract the eyes of the film studio itself that can distribute this film. Then only they can distribute this film and possibly gain some money as well. Luckily for them, this scheme of theirs really worked because a film studio called IFC Films distributed this film for them. So it really worked for them. So I understand as to why these films, especially those that come out in film festivals like Sundance Film Festival or some other film festivals, would want to do these kind of things. I would really understand why. But there are certain films out there where I don't understand why they would do such. The Last Jedi. Star Wars fans from all over the globe agreed that is possibly the worst, if not one of the worst Star Wars films ever made. But the critic score on Rotten Tomatoes says otherwise. 91% on Rotten Tomatoes versus a 45-46% on the audience score says a lot. It's really evidence that the company really paid these critics to give such good scores. So what are the implications of this recent finding by Vulture? Well, Rotten Tomatoes already has a bad name for itself. It's already known to be really unreliable. So this puts it under a lot of fire. And now that you gave this interview out where even Vulture is criticizing, is even saying that Rotten Tomatoes has been paying their critics, this makes Rotten Tomatoes less credible, and henceforth, it's like adding fuel to fire. Now, that's not a good sign for Rotten Tomatoes at all. It hasn't been good for them over the years, you can see that, but even Vulture doesn't agree with them. Even IGN doesn't agree with them, although that says a lot. Even I don't like IGN's rating. They just give every film a 7 out of 10. So who listens to them right now? This shows how easily RT can be manipulated. $50? I'm pretty sure any company can afford that. They're making millions out of some movies, even $1 billion for some movies. I am sure they can afford $50 for each critic, like more than that actually. So right now, it's all about the business, the money, and I understand why, because like how Andrei Tarkovsky once said, film is a very unlucky art form because it really depends on money. And I understand why they would go after money, but this is taking things too far here. They've been doing it for years, so there's nothing much to say about that, but I think this has more implications. Studios are now trying to prioritize money over art form, this is where cinema is going. It's going down a line where business, money is more important than the art form it is. Where in the past, studios really prioritized the vision of the filmmakers more. They actually respected the vision of the filmmakers, the writers, the crew who were part of the film. They respected film more of an art form rather than a business, if you know what I mean. Remember this line from Joker?
Not about money, it's about sending a message. Everything burns.
They tell Hollywood another line from Joker. You get what you deserve, Hollywood. Because they are not doing really well right now. Let's think about this question. Why are so many comic book films flopping recently? I mean, comic book films were the juggernaut of the film industry. They were the ones that were making the bulks of money. Endgame, highest grossing film. Well, back then it was before Avatar got re-released, and now Avatar is now the highest grossing film again. But still, once upon a time it was the highest grossing film. And then Infinity War, Spider-Man, No Way Home, close to $2 billion, and so many other MCU films. For over a decade, for 20 films or more, the MCU has made so much money. Now they are really flopping, and here's why. Because recent comic book films just feel like they're recycling old material, old comic book film material. The story feels so recycled that people at this point are just, give it up, man, give it up, come up with something new for us. That's what audiences are like now. They want something new. They want something new to grab onto, something new they love. And I'm not saying all comic book films are flopping. Across the Spider-Verse succeeded at the box office. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 did really well. These two films are the exceptions because they gave us something new in the comic book genre. The MCU dominated the box office for over a decade, and so they decided, you know what, we should just make more of them to make more money. That's the thing. This has become a business to this point that, you know what, something else succeeded, let's make more of it. And they made more of it, and they screwed themselves up. They made more of the same thing again. They really screwed themselves up because it's something unoriginal. They're not listening to the audiences much anymore because they just want them money. As long as it makes them money, they will be happy already. They don't care much about what the audiences are saying now. And it's not only these comic book films, even remakes, Disney remakes like The Little Mermaid, that film did disappointingly at the box office. I wouldn't say it's a flop, maybe it was a flop, but it's kind of borderline if I were to think about it. But again, it did poorly at the box office. It was a disappointment nonetheless. And sequels, I'm not saying all sequels are bad. Like Across Spider-Verse was great, Puss in Boots 2 The Last Wish was great. So many great sequels out there, but there's some sequels out there which are just there for the money. And that's getting really lazy at this point. Who's asking for the remake of the Lion King sequel? Who's asking for it? It's not an art form anymore if you're just copy-pasting what the success of the predecessor does. Again, there's nothing wrong with taking influences because every film is an influence of some other film that came before. But what's wrong is that you take the exact same story and you're recycling it. Now that's something really uncreative, unoriginal, and that pisses off audiences. Why would I want to spend money on a film with a story that has been seen before multiple times? Why? Again, there's no reason for people to spend money on this. That's why Blue Beetle flopped. That's why Shazam flopped. That's why Black Adam flopped. That's why Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania flopped. What else do you need? At this point, it's not about the art form anymore. It's about the business. That's what Hollywood has been turning into. They've been prioritizing so much business over the art form of cinema. And again, Martin Scorsese said it best. He said that thing about the MCU,
the Marvel type pictures, where the theaters become amusement parks. That's a different experience, and it's not even. I was saying earlier, it's not cinema; it's something else. You know, whether you go for that or not, but it is something else, and we shouldn't be invaded by it. And so that's a big issue. That's a big issue.
It's like a roller coaster ride, and it's no longer cinema. And I kind of agree with him. You can criticize me in the comments however you want. I know there's going to be a lot of MCU fans out there who are like, what are you talking about? I know I probably triggered you guys. I'm really sorry. But then again, you have to agree with him. He's saying some truth way before comic book films started to flop big time. And not just one or two comic book films. Many comic book films that came out continuously flopped. Hollywood has tragically forgotten the art form it used to be, and has embraced the business it can be. And now let's talk about the 3 highest grossing films of the year. None of them are remakes or stories that have been recycled from the past. Yes, they do have an existing pre-established fan base because they are based on something else, whether it's history, a doll, or a game. They are established out of something else. But then again, story-wise, it's not like it's recycling a previous story. It's something new, it's something creative, it's something original, it's something fresh that the audience can get behind, can watch. And that's what audiences really want. And that's why these 3 films are the highest grossing films of the year. And that's why these are the kind of films that audiences nowadays are craving for. We need more films like this, original and fresh, something that the audience can get behind. And remember in the beginning, I asked you guys whether you think cinema is more of an art form or a business, or can it be both? Well, these 3 films juggled both. They were definitely something fresh, and I would say Oppenheimer was an art form of a film. It was a very artistic film. It is filmmaking at its prime, at its best. It made tons of money. Yeah, I'm not kidding. It made tons of money. So Hollywood, please, more fresh and original films. Thank you. And yeah, that's all I have for today. If you like this video, click the like button. If you want to see more, subscribe to my channel. And see you guys next time. You guys are always the best.